Erano I tempi di guerra.
It was wartime. Everything collapsed before our eyes. We were young, we had dreams for the future. Houses, studies, loved ones, careers. Everything was destroyed. The Lord was speaking one of His eternal words to us. All is vanity, nothing but vanity. It was from that complete destruction of all that had been so precious to our hearts that our ideal was born. It was easy to speak of this ideal when everything that could have attracted us spoke of death. We felt that only one ideal was true and immortal. It was God. Seeing the hatred that was causing everything to collapse, we suddenly saw clearly the one who does not die. And we saw Him and loved Him in His essence, God as love.
This is how the story of the Focolare movement began. And it's always worth going back to our roots to understand the real meaning of our lives today. We chose this text of Karol Lubic's because we are living in troubled times, full of problems facing the whole world, and also where people themselves feel disorientated. That's why I like to think of this link-up as a place where we can meet together and share our struggles, our pain, but also our dreams and our hopes to be able to leave here as part of that change that all of us in the world are waiting for. We've seen how poverty, natural disasters, wars and unforeseen events can make us experience despair, and we feel powerless and fragile like every human being. But all this can be overcome with the strength of our being together. This strength expresses itself through simple, everyday choices, personal, silent ones that have the power to change our lives. As happened to Jean-Paul from Burundi. Let's listen to him.
Yes, I walk with this crutch. That not only reminds me that I am not completely healed. The crutch reminds me not to forget the love of God. That meeting with Jesus Forsaken. You see, this crutch, I like it a lot. I like it a lot, and I think it adds to who I am. My experience began on the evening of May 2nd, 2015. I had met a young man who was 20 or 25 who was asking for help to return to his neighborhood. I knew that the neighborhood was dangerous for a young person, and that at the time, in 2015, there were several demonstrations in that area. So I offered to give him a bed for the night, and the next day I would show him the neighborhood. When we arrived near the university where I was studying, I met 6 people who jumped on me and beat me. I woke up when I was laying in a ditch, paralyzed from here down. It was this young man who pulled me out. I laid down on the road, and he did everything he could so that somebody would take me to the hospital. During that night, while lying on the stretcher, I remembered Chiara's meditation on Jesus Forsaken. when the priest asked her, "When did Jesus suffer the most?" And Chiara answered, "In the Garden of Gethsemane." But the priest said, "No, it was on the cross." The meditation sparked a feeling in me that I could not understand. From that moment on, I experienced a joy that I myself was not able to express. I started living the present moment in Burundi, and 2 weeks later, I was transferred to Rwanda. I really met Jesus. I would say physically. I remember that I left Burundi on May 12, 2015, and on the morning of the 13th, the borders were closed. If I had not left Burundi on the 12th, I would have stayed there. I found out that I had a rather serious injury.
Piuttosto grave.
So there was an urgent need for an operation. And the doctor told me, "You need to find money for this operation." When I was in Bujumbura, the Gen came to see me together at the Focolare. So they started thinking, what can we do? And they decided to send a message that there was a Gen from Burundi who had suffered an accident and needed an urgent operation. So Gen from all over the world, everywhere, started to contribute. The day after the operation, the doctor came to me and said, "Jean-Paul, you can continue with physiotherapy. We will help you so that you can sit in the wheelchair." I thought, no way. And in my heart, I thought, no, it's not possible. Then I said, "Doctor, I will walk again." When you do physiotherapy, the pain increases instead of decreasing. But I felt confident because with all the steps forward I had taken, I had experienced that Jesus with me. Then I said to myself, the next step will also go well. And so, step by step, until I was able to walk with only one crutch. I can say that this healing experience is the result of love and unity. We know that God is love, but when you experience it yourself, you see exactly that God truly loves us immensely. This love gave me the courage to forgive those who tried to kill me. Because when you don't forgive, you can't continue to experience the joy that I had. And when I had the courage to forgive, I felt that I was free. There is no excuse. I have no excuse not to love. I have no excuse for not loving my neighbor, for not being a good Christian. But I have been lucky. Through my friends who are in Belgium, I can continue my physiotherapy and also have a small operation on my toes because they still hurt. Before my accident, I was studying civil engineering. In Uganda, I completed my studies, and afterwards, I tried to look for work and to continue on the path of my vocation. Maybe marriage? I think so. When somebody sees me with this crutch, they dare to ask me, "Jean-Paul, what happened?" And I have the courage to talk to them, to tell them about the love of God.
Let's listen to what Carol Lubik said about this in 2002.
Grazie.
Thank you. In the link-up, we truly experience love that reaches out and comes back because of how thankful you are and the way you make it your own. In specific circumstances, an excellent prayer that we can say with renewed enthusiasm and with all our mind and heart is, "You, Lord, are my only good." In fact, we all realize that quite often, while we are working, writing, speaking, or resting, or doing something else, that some slight attachment can creep into our hearts, attachment to ourselves, to things, to people. Giving into these would be a terrible setback for our spiritual life. St. John of the Cross said, "It makes no difference whether a bird is held down by a thread or by a rope. However fine the thread is, the bird is bound as if by a cord, until it can break it to fly away." And he continues saying, "It's the same for a person who is bound to something. Despite all their virtues, they will never achieve the freedom of union with God." In these situations, we must really act immediately, and nothing can be more helpful, this is a recent experience of mine, than to say often to Jesus forsaken, "You, Lord, are my only good. My only good. I have no other." I believe this is a very important prayer and extremely pleasing to God. It prevents us from being covered with the dust of earthly things. In living this, we are amazed. I am always struck by this and always have been, by how that phrase, "Only you, Lord, are my only good," gives a solemn change of direction to our spiritual life. It immediately puts us straight, as if it were the trustworthy needle in the compass of our journey towards God. Moreover, this way of acting is very much in line with our spirituality, in which the positive aspect prevails. By living what is good, whatever is wrong disappears. We are not so much called to detach ourselves from something, from ourselves or things or people, but to fill ourselves with something, with love for Him who is everything for us. Instead of saying no, we prefer to say yes. This prayer, "You, Lord, are my only good," is a wonderful way to live as true Christians who love God with all their heart and soul and not half-heartedly. It's also a sublime way to prepare ourselves for all the times we meet Him in His daily inspirations. It will also prepare us for our solemn meeting with Him at the dawn of that eternal day when the only thing that matters will be our love for God and for Him, our love for every neighbour. You, Lord, are my only good. What wisdom, what understanding, what light, what strength, what love, what perfection there is in those few words. May the Lord grant us to experience all the power contained in them.
I'm very happy to be here with Margaret Caran, the president of the Focolare movement. Welcome, Margaret. I was very struck by Chiara's words when she said, we're not so much called to detach ourselves from things, from ourselves or from people, but to fill ourselves, because we're not people of no, but of yes. What did this thought inspire in you?
I made a few notes, because this thought made me make a very deep examination of conscience. You, Lord, are my only good. It's Psalm 15 that Chiara is quoting. And I knew that this was the thought for the link-up. So this week, I was trying to put it into practice. I was trying to live it and to repeat it several times a day. And I asked myself, what is my only good? What is my only good? And several things came to mind. The movement as a whole, the focolare, my family, peace. Maybe these are all things that are beautiful and important, but I felt that these things are not my only good. So I thought, truly, this thought of Chiara's is so apt for now. I saw it that it's just right for this time of Lent, because what Chiara's just said to us puts us back into God and helps us to take the step of returning to Him, who is our only good, who gives meaning to all that we do. So I felt that I wanted to say, He is the absolute good, not all the rest, all the other things. So that's why then the movement, peace, the family, all of these beautiful and very important things have great value in themselves. I don't want to diminish them because they have huge value in themselves. And there are many other things that are a good for me. Health, for example, is a good that we have. We've just heard Jean-Paul's experience. But that to say that God is my only good doesn't diminish the value of all the other things. But this puts us in God and helps us to have this experience. At least for me, this is what happened during these few days. The movement belongs to God, is in God. Peace is in God. I find my family in God. Peace itself is a gift that only God can give us. So I really felt I wanted to make this conversion, which is the title of this thought, which was to change direction. And I felt this strongly, that during Lent now, we should make this change of direction. I wanted to make it in my own life to return to Him, because only He can give this meaning to our life at root. It's only God, truly. And then I found that Chiara's thought that we've heard is really in harmony with a psalm that I've had very much at heart in these last few days, which is Psalm 51, and which says, "Create in me a clean heart, O God, and put a new and right spirit within me. Do not cast me away from your presence, and do not take your Holy Spirit from me. Restore to me the joy of your salvation, and sustain in me a willing spirit." So I thought, because I took these as words to live for these 40 days of Lent, and when I heard the link up, it really clicked, something clicked within me, because I thought, if God is my only good, then yes, I will have a clean heart. Yes, I will have a new and right spirit within me. I'll be a generous, a willing spirit. So I want to commit with all of you to choose God as our only good. As Chiara explained to us, it's our Jesus forsaken. He's our only good. So let's commit, all of us together, to love Him more than ever. And I thought this is what renews the whole of us, the whole of ourselves, all our relationships, all the things we propose we want to do, and it prepares us too for Easter. I thought this was the most beautiful thing that we can do, that we can live in this way so as to prepare for a most wonderful Easter. We can let the risen Lord live in us through this continuous prayer to Jesus forsaken, who is our only good. Not only that the risen Lord should shine out in us, but that we can truly give Him to those people that we meet, the people beside us. So this is what struck me, and this is my wish, my hope, as something I suggest that I want to live with all of you in the world, but that I wish for everybody. Thank you.